Hey Hannah, you remember when you used to think that the Earth revolved around the sun? Yeah, me neither. But there was a time when the most intelligent people on the Earth thought that it was the center of the universe and no one thought they were weird. So what happened? What happened is something called a paradigm shift, a buzzword that has been thrown around a lot since 1962 when Thomas S. Kuhn coined it in his book, The Structure of Scientific Revolutions. A paradigm shift occurs when the most basic assumptions of a worldview are transformed. You may assume that life spontaneously generates or that atoms are governed by the same laws as bowling balls or that I'm wearing pants, but you'd be wrong. And the funny thing about paradigm shifts is that you can't really see them coming because by the time you understand them, they've already occurred. So it's interesting to see what kind of paradigm shift we are on the brink of or in the midst of. A physicist named Fritjof Capra tried to figure this out back in 1996 in a book that he wrote called The Web of Life. It describes how a culmination of scientific breakthroughs over the last century are finally giving rise to new paradigms. Ever since the discovery of quantum mechanics in the 1920s, we've uncovered the idea that maybe the universe is not a pile of stuff, but more a network of connections. Let me explain by moving from physics to biology. In the old worldview, which I'll call the mechanistic worldview, an organism is a hierarchy. It's just a pile of cells, which are just piles of atoms. But the piece of information that is overlooked in this worldview is that the piles of atoms behave totally differently than the atoms themselves, and the piles of cells, the organisms, behave totally differently than the cells. Considering this new information, we're forced to move into a new worldview, a holistic worldview. Here you can't look at just a cell without looking at the network that it's a part of, its organism. And furthermore, you can't look at an organism without looking at the network that it is a part of, which is an ecosystem. And finally, you can't even look at an ecosystem without looking at the network that it is a part of, which is the entire planet or biosphere. I know the concepts of quantum mechanics and the concepts of ecology seem worlds away, but what's interesting is that they're both supported by the same paradigm, and they are both results of the same paradigm shift. Anyways, that's what I've been thinking about this week, Hannah. I'll see you on Monday.